This is Kevin Pruitt with another interview in Rising Tide Startups ecosystem. And my guest today is Alana Shegog. Alana, thank you for joining us on Rising Tide.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
On the opposite end of the planet right now, the wonders of the interwebs. We can talk to each other in real time.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing.
So tell our audience a little bit about Alana Shegog.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Alana Shegog. I live in beautiful, sunny Sydney, Australia. And I started my entrepreneurial journey probably about 2 years ago. Originally, I started in life coaching. Um, but my background is in broadcast journalism, and I used to do presenting online for a shopping channel. So it was only until probably about 6 months ago that I've started helping entrepreneurs and life coaches mainly with their video work. And so just having an online video presence. And it's just been amazing to see sort of the importance of video rising and seeing how people can really improve their presence online.
So how did you make that transition? I mean, I'm picturing in my mind, the American equivalent is what, QVC or something like that, that would be a shopping channel. Is that similar to the environment you were in?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It was actually all online, so it was one of a kind. It was instead of being on television, it was all online. So it was live video, but it was back when live video wasn't really around. So
Right.
it was 3 hours at a time of just talking and trying to sell
Wow.
things. Very much not in my demographic. I was 23 at the time, and I was selling things for probably 60-year-old women. So it was kind of a great place to start where I could really learn how to sort of connect with people of different ages and demographics and just really focus on the products and the benefits of, and really, I really learnt my sales skills there as well. So yeah, it was a great place to start.
I mean, live video is dangerous, but live video for an
Yeah.
extended period of time is almost deadly.
Yeah. It was very tiring. I would sleep for hours afterwards.
I mean, you've got to be so adept at just keeping the conversation going because in essence you're having a conversation with yourself for
Yeah.
for three
Yeah,
hours.
definitely. Yeah, it felt like I was just talking to nothing. But yeah, it's sort of kind of where you learn those skills of just, talking to your audience, even if you can't see them, being able to reach out to them, connect with them on camera. So yeah, I'm so glad that I had that experience, and also my journalism experience as well has really helped me in this journey.
So did you study in university or study in secondary school or whatever for this particular pathway that you found yourself on?
Yeah, so I did journalism, and then I majored in television journalism. So
Okay.
that's kind of where I wanted to go. And then I did work experience at a TV station, and I just thought it just didn't fit my personality. So I sort of did more lifestyle presenting, where I went into, more of the fun stuff, the shopping channel as well. And then it wasn't until probably a few years later, after I'd gone into the corporate world as well. So I tried a lot of different things where I really wanted to start my own thing and do life coaching. And then it's all kind of gone full circle. I'm back to using my skills in presenting and being on camera. So it's amazing how it's all worked out.
So I want to touch on that in just a minute, but a question has really come to mind as you were talking. I my I have a hard time because my brain tends to multitask. It listens with one half and it's thinking about something else with the other. But the idea that you would then coach people on how to use video effectively, I would think that it would be very difficult to, um, for lack of a better term, to almost dumb it down because you would be so adept at using video. How do you bridge that gap to somebody that's just starting and have the patience to deal with
Yeah.
their learning curve that you've gone through
Yeah,
for
yeah.
years?
It's a lot of mindset. A lot of people are just they don't see camera as being a normal way of interacting with people. They see it as being sort of performing, and it's really not that way at all. So they sort of get this front on, and they freeze up. So it's very much a mindset. So that my coaching sort of background has come into that as well.
Sure.
Trying to break those fear barriers and break it down that way. And then once that's broken down, it's all, we touch on a few of the technical things, and then it's all about really kind of selling selling your services and you know what you have to offer for people as well. So there's a lot of elements to it, but I think mindset's definitely where for most people when they've got that major fear, because it is a real fear for a lot of people,
absolutely.
that's where we start.
It's it's the
Yeah,
same fear
definitely.
that keeps you from public speaking, the same fear that
Yeah, yeah,
from presenting in
yeah.
front of audiences. So let's drill down a little bit. So you and I, we just stepped on an elevator. We got stepped on a lift.
Yeah.
We've got 10 stories we're going up, and give me your kind of your elevator pitch or your sales pitch that would sell me on your service.
Yeah, well, I essentially coach other coaches. So I'm a coach for another coach to really increase their video presence and sell themselves on video. So use video to grow their business and get clients. So that's basically what I do.
So primarily life coaches, business coaches, which type of coaching?
Yeah, life coaches mainly. I really love working with people who I guess have I don't want to say fuzzy, but their business is very much, you know, about mindset, spirituality, things like that. But they have a really hard time explaining that to the audience,
Mm-hmm.
and they sort of the language they use, their audience doesn't understand that. So we sort of break it down and find ways to make it so, you know, they've got these amazing services that really help people, but they don't know how to actually explain that to their audience. So we really work on breaking that down and making it more simple.
So touch on kind of the two major areas. I mean, you didn't drill down in those, but as you were talking, I'm thinking about so you're drilling down in kind of your avatar, your perfect client, and you're also
Yes.
drilling down in what your messaging is or your vision,
Yeah.
side of things. So when you work with people, how do you get them to kind of it's not really niching down, but it really is kind of
Yeah.
focusing on, you're really just selling to one person. You have an
Yeah.
ideal client in mind, or so. I don't want to put words in your mouth. That so kind of give
No,
us a kind
that's
of a
yeah,
mini
no.
coaching session.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like essentially, when my clients come to me, they've got these amazing ideas, and they want to help people with their spirituality or with their find their purpose or things like that are quite broad. So we really just break it down to finding the pain points, the pleasure points. It's very much business coaching one-on-one,
Sure.
but it's really about breaking it really down so that their language is easier on video and people can go, oh, I really want to work with that person because I know what they're talking about.
Hmm.
So that's essentially what we work on, and making titles and topics that are going to be relevant and people can really connect with that. And because a lot of the times they're topics that people just don't know what they're talking about, and
Right.
it could be an amazing topic this person really needs, but they have no idea what it is because the language isn't, they're not meeting them halfway, so
Right.
in the middle. So if that makes sense. So
Sure.
essentially, yeah, it's very simple work that we do, but it's the simple work that usually trips people up in business because
Hmm.
they don't understand the language and the fact that they don't get where people are at in that beginning phase. So
Right.
they're sort of, they forget that they were once back here when they're now over here, if that makes sense. So they don't use language that connects with people.
Hmm.
And so we really work on that as well as the video stuff and being confident on camera as well.
So you work on even the copy side of things, like the content. You write copy, you edit, help them. Uh,
Yeah, definitely in just video, but we go through the structure of the video as
right.
well. So how to make video retention, so how to keep people on the video for longer, how to use titles that are really going to grab people because as you probably are well aware, where our attention spans are getting less and less. It's hard to
I
to
just
sort of stay
confessed
on a
that. I
video for a
just
long.
said I multitask. So exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone does in this day and age. There's so much information out there. So really getting titles that are going to grab people's attention as well.
So tell me, what is from a video that you've had your hands on, so to speak?
Mhm.
What's the most viewed video you've worked on or with, say on YouTube?
Most viewed. So only work with live video.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Thanks for that
yeah,
clarification.
sorry, I should
Yeah.
have mentioned that as
No, that's all
well.
right.
What I teach can be applied to YouTube, but
Uh-huh.
I really, because of the power of live video, I really focus on that. So mainly I focus on people who just want to start doing live video in just on on their Facebook profiles
Mm-hmm.
or in Facebook groups. So it's really simple things, and these people might not have a big audience to begin with. So, you know, the viewership might not be there very, very large, but the conversion is what we really look at. So, you know, you might have 10 people watching, but, you know, we're going to try and get as many people there to follow up with you, to download your
Right.
freebie, to book a discovery call with you. So all of those things like that, I really focus more on that than the views. Obviously, there are ways you can try and make videos go a little bit more viral, get more people watching them. But yeah, so it's really about, I guess, more the conversion of people watching, not so much getting more people on the video.
So let me ask you a question. It's kind of off topic here. I mean, it's just right on topic, but it's not in your list. So I'm going to give you a little caveat here. I'm surprising her with this question. And so if Facebook tomorrow turned off live video, how would you pivot?
Oh, that is such an interesting question. Well, I guess I mean, I do live video on all different, you know, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, even live video as well.
Wow.
I think that, you know, while it is growing, I think that if people were to stop watching it or if it was turned off, people would still watch video. I don't think that video in itself, I think that is very powerful. And you know, I would probably turn to just doing pre-recorded because I think, you know, and some of my clients aren't comfortable using live video to start off with, and pre-recorded is
Right.
what they're using. So
Right.
definitely I would still focus on that as well. But right now, I guess I'm just taking advantage of how big live video is and how much you can really connect with people in this on the spot. And for coaching in the coaching industry, that is just amazing because, you know, you can almost coach people in your videos and people can see how powerful you are as a coach, and then
Absolutely.
they can really start that connection. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm really focusing on live video.
Matter of fact, I mean, and correct me because you would know this infinitely better than I would, but I mean, you almost have to capture them like in the first 10 seconds of a video. I mean,
Yeah,
if they're
yeah.
if especially if somebody's scrolling and I mean, there has to be
Mm,
something either in the way you're saying it or the content that you're saying that has to grab them. I mean, you touched a little bit on, you know, you have to have a title that is really you know, watch worthy or stop
yeah,
worthy, you know, that really would capture the
definitely. Yeah,
attention. So um, tell me
yeah.
how, so when you're talking to clients, I mean, I would say there would be just a rampant innate fear of people to do live video. So, I mean, you have a big hurdle really early to get a client
Hmm.
to say, you know, hey, we're going to take because it is risky to do live
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
I mean, I have shied away from doing live video on Facebook for that very reason because there's
Yeah,
safety
yeah.
in you know, pre-recorded that you can
Very
edit, you
recorded. Yeah,
know, for sure. So
definitely.
how do
Yeah.
you talk them off the ledge, so to speak, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
a lot of the time it sort of speaks for itself. You know, people, I work with a lot of perfectionists that hate watching themselves on camera, and they spend hours with pre-recorded because they'll go and delete it. And I say, if you go on live, you're on and it's done and it's easy, it's quick, and it's just, in the end, you know, we always start with pre-record, but they end up saying, okay, I'm just going to try it because I'm sick of sort of deleting my video 50 times. And you know, also people, a lot of people that come to me don't like editing. I myself
sure.
actually don't, I don't actually like editing, which is why I'm doing live video as well. That was always my downfall in journalism, is the actual media production side of it. So yeah, so it ends up actually selling itself in the end a lot of the time because it is just very quick and easy.
Yeah.
And I've had so many things go wrong in my live videos. Like, you know, just right now we're talking and my sensor light keeps going off. So I have a lot of the time things do go wrong, but I just really state how important it is to remember that it goes wrong for everyone. I've watched people who have got, you know, $1 million business and their live video, it just completely, the internet cuts out, and
Yeah.
it's just normal for that. So it's actually easier to, you know, not worry about those little details than it is with pre-recorded. So
You know what's funny is that how many times you see people like start a live video on Facebook and you see them staring into the
yeah.
little black hole. They're going, am I live? Am I live?
Yeah,
Am I on?
that starting is always very awkward. Yeah. And that's why I always go through, you know, the importance of the fact that a lot of people will be watching the replay. So you've got to sort of start it with a bang and start it as if, you know, you would, people are watching the replay, because people forget that, and then their replay, it doesn't get as many views because they're sort of just sitting there. And it's not as inviting to watch. So
Yeah,
yeah, we go
I
through
mean,
all of those
sure.
things.
people that
Yeah.
that I think are good on camera. I mean, even this week, I mean, I've had, people that I'm Facebook friends with that I've seen some of their live videos they've started, and they literally just sit there and stare at the camera for the first,
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
seconds. You're thinking, are they even moving, or is the video
What's
working?
happening here? Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a lot of things to go through.
did you have to overcome the fear of live video yourself? And based on
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
how do you, you know do you use that, I guess, to walk other people through that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I obviously had done live video with my previous role on the shopping channel, but
Sure.
I'd never gotten comments and things like there's a lot of things that I just wasn't used to, seeing people comment and then I get distracted and then I didn't really have a flow. So I definitely had to work through that and it was still terrifying for me even though I'm quite comfortable on camera, to press that live button is the most terrifying thing to begin with. So it's just getting over that first video and being able to do that, and then you can it gets better every time. So that's kind of how I walk them through it.
So, I mean, you mentioned earlier mindset. I mean, it really is. You have to almost be comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah,
You have to.
definitely.
It's okay if my hair's a bit messed up. It's okay if my
Yeah.
hat bill is a bit cockeyed or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're walking through, and that would be. I mean, to me, that would be a bigger hurdle than really teaching somebody how do you develop your avatar. I mean, if you can get over that one, there's
Yeah.
then the rest of it is almost downhill. It seems like,
Yeah,
because that's such a
definitely.
huge hurdle. But so tell me some of the just touch on. I mean, what are some of the interesting things that you've seen in coaching people? After you hit stop on the camera, after you close the call with the person, and you really just started laughing. You thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious. What
Yeah, I think
without calling
oh,
anyone out here.
yeah. No, I think it's just the fact that people just it's funny the things that people worry about with video. Like they really do worry about the tiniest things that just don't matter at all. And it's just about getting them through that. They'll ask me about like with live video, they'll ask me about a lot of the technical side of things and then it's amazing. They will show me a video that they've recorded and it is just perfect. It shows their personality, it shows what they coach. It's just amazing, and they'll still say, "Okay, so I am re-recording that because I don't like it." And it's just amazing to see how people get so caught up. So I
Yeah.
think that's probably the funniest side of it. And it's obviously it's not funny. It's hard to see because people just don't realize how great they are on camera.
Mm,
But I think once you get over that, as you said, it's that mindset thing
yeah.
that's probably the hardest part of the coaching is getting over that and having them just be comfortable and being able to watch a video and go, yeah, that's great, and be able to press publish and record.
One tiny thing that I struggle with is like if I'm doing a podcast interview that's a video, that we're recording the video as well. I find
Yeah,
myself like right now I'm watching the box that has you in it versus looking
yeah,
at the camera. So, you know,
yeah, yeah.
that little black dot at the top of the laptop, that is the one, that's actually the camera. And I've had people that there was a
Yeah,
previous guest that said he actually drew little arrows, little red arrows, and he taped them on his
around it.
laptop to show, look at that black dot, don't look at the
Yeah,
screen or
yeah.
whatever. So, I mean, I've
No, it
noticed
can be tricky.
you
And
look
I'm like,
like you're
I'm
looking at the
looking at the
camera.
screen right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is tricky with interviews. It's very tricky as well because you want to look at the person. But it's actually we're very used to not looking straight at the camera right now in terms of video calls and things like that. So I think it's not as bad to be
Yeah.
slightly have our eyes not exactly through the
Right.
camera.
Right.
So that's one thing I do tell people. It's okay. Obviously, you don't want to be looking down here, but it's okay if you are looking slightly off because people are used to that now. So just because that's kind of a lot of the way that it works now with our current technology is that we are looking not at the camera, we're looking at the screen. So yeah, that's another little technical thing that I tell people not to worry too much about.
Are there any other little tips, like do you like tape a person's face on the wall behind the laptop, or anything else that would kind of draw you out of this idea that I'm just talking into space and I'm talking to someone, or any other little tips to kind of help, kind of make it more
Definitely.
comfortable?
Yeah, I think I really want people to just talk as if they're talking to their best friend, and that's where your personality comes out the
Mm,
most. And I think with camera, it's really, if you're not yourself, people can sense it and they won't connect with it. So that's kind of the main thing that I want people to focus on is to really talk as much yourself as possible. So yes, as you said right before, putting someone's face, putting your best friend's face right behind the camera. I've had people do that,
uh-huh.
and just being in that space and being really comfortable and really you. That's kind of, it sounds quite woo-woo, but it's really what is really going to be the most important thing. So yeah, definitely put someone's face. Remember, you're talking to one person, and think about your ideal client. Make sure you're just
Right.
talking to them, not you're just being blasé, and that's kind of, I guess, business coaching 101 as well. But if it's anything that makes you more comfortable, I would say do that because it's really about getting over that discomfort.
Yeah. I,
Just
I
make
mean,
good
I,
video.
we just chatted for a few minutes here online, but I think you really have a an innate knack to make people feel comfortable on camera. I mean, I've even felt more comfortable, just in the conversation since we started because, just your conversation style and just the way that, you can lead and end a sentence and end a question, almost with a question. With it's almost like
Thank
a
you.
question mark in the air that, just says, okay, right, or something like that. So you're really drawing people in
Yeah.
and an engaging way. So if
Thank you so much.
if you had to choose someone online that really inspired you, that really helped you make this transition from, you're sitting there for 3 hours, on your online shopping channel to actually coaching, video coaching, you can say, hey, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm opening my own, kind of solopreneur endeavor here. What
Yeah.
would be one person that you think would inspire you, or who would
Oh,
be
I
one
think,
person?
and it's probably someone who I think inspires a lot of people. Marie Fowler is probably the person who
Mm,
really inspired me the most. She just has that ability to show her personality on camera, and that's
mm-hmm.
kind of what I love to see. And she can be herself completely. So that's someone who really inspired me. But there's so many. I mean, just the amount of amazing coaches out there. They're just, and these are people who were great at coaching, but going out there and growing their audience, that was probably hard for them, for a lot of them,
Yeah.
and they've just been able to really shine. And I've seen people who are awkward on camera, and then within 6 months they're just amazing.
Mm.
So that always really, really inspires me a lot as well. So yeah, I think the industry as a whole, there's so many. It's just so inspiring to be a part of because there are just people just doing the most amazing things. So I probably have many that I can't think of right now, but Marie
Sure.
Folio is probably my,
Yeah.
my number one. Yeah.
So would you say? I mean, there the whole kind of concept of that says nature versus nurture. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea that people are born to be good on camera, or it can be a learned skill, or is it somewhere between the two? What do you think?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question because people always say, oh, they're really great on camera. I'm not great on camera. And it's so not true because you can get so great within a short space of time.
Yeah.
I think maybe your ability to like being on camera is quite, you know, um, quite nature. Like
Right.
I always just liked it for a strange reason. I'm very introverted. If there's a big crowd of people, I'm not the one that's standing out at all. But for some reason, in front of an audience, doing a presentation or on camera, I do enjoy that. So it's
Kind of
kind of
come to
strange
life.
that I
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's just always been a part of me. But your ability to be good on camera, I think that's definitely all learnt. So
Right.
that's the good part. You can learn those skills, and you can, and then once you do learn those and you get more confident, you will enjoy it more. So I think that's a good thing to remember as well.
So is there a life quote that kind of drives you, like a personal mantra or whatever you want to call it, that you may have taped up on your laptop or something that says, I have to read this every day. It's on my wall. I've had it stenciled somewhere.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have one, to be honest. I'm a big quote person, so
Hmm.
I always have
Have a
quotes
lot of them.
everywhere.
That's right.
But yeah, I love quotes. But I think anything to do with the fact that you are so, this is going to sound so a bit cheesy, I'm sorry, but you are very unique. And I think any sort of quote that relates to the fact that, you're, I think it's just, we've sort of grown up thinking that we have to mold into different things. And I think with video and with finding clients and, being successful in the online space, it's really about being yourself as much as possible. So any sort of quote that reminds me of that, I'm always like, okay, because, you get caught off track. You end up,
Sure.
Comparing yourself to other people or copying other people without realizing. And then I think anything that sort of brings back to that space of just being myself and using my own quirks to really make my business shine, that's kind of where I've made my success. So I think that's kind of what inspires me as well.
So I've got a little kind of off-topic question here. You
Yeah.
mentioned that you work with coaches a lot. Do you think that you that a life coach needs to be a certain age or have a certain amount of life experience before they become life coach? And I've seen these 18-year-old life coaches out there. I'm going,
Yeah.
need to live some life before you can call yourself a life coach.
Yeah. It's funny because I think people, when they hear life coaching, they think that life coaches are, they just coach on life,
Yeah, exactly.
which is so not. And I got into it thinking I just wanted to help people. And obviously, I had a very, demographic. I knew I wanted to help people
Sure.
younger than myself. But I got into it realizing that's not the way it is at all. You need a complete niche. And so I think because of that, you can be whatever age because you might be very experienced in one particular area. You might have had a substance abuse problem or something, anything, could be anything.
Hmm.
And you could be a 20-year-old that's already gone through a lot in this area and you can
That's
coach people
true.
on that. So I think
Yeah.
because of that, you can, it's just, I think there aren't many people out there who are just life coaches. It's not really a thing anymore. I think people think that you can
Right.
just go out there and get a certification and just life coach, but you do have to have an area of expertise, which you can have at any age. So, yeah, that would be my opinion on that.
That's a great reminder that life is not just the amount of years you've lived. It might be the experiences that
Yeah,
you've kind of packed into to that
on
space
different
of time.
things.
So
Yeah, definitely.
if you could go back, so tell me again when you made that shift.
Yeah.
When you made the shift from kind of the online shopping to we're going to do this. I'm going to freelance or I'm going to set up my own shop. Online type thing, online coaching. When was that shift made?
Yeah. I actually went to corporate in between that. So I went into still the media industry. It was
Uh-huh.
a major channel, major TV channel, but I was in sales, advertising sales. So it was a corporate job. So I did that, I guess, just to get my foot in the door. But I ended up working completely corporate, many hours a week behind a desk, and I just didn't like that at all. So that was probably 3 years ago, and then I just found this whole thing, life coaching, and went, oh, that sounds amazing. I just want to be able to have that freedom, and I think most people that's where they decided to make the shift because they just didn't want to be stuck in a particular place for 8 hours a day. So
Right.
yeah, I just went, okay, I'm going to try life coaching. And again, I went into it thinking I don't really know what this is. It's just a way that I can have my own business. I don't really know, I thought that they would just teach me things and I would just go and coach very generic, general things, which isn't the case at all. And then, you realize you've got to have a real niche and you've got to have a particular thing that you help people with. And that's kind of where it all shaped from there.
So did you do your life coaching at an institute online or at a place there in Australia or what was the how did you
Yeah, it was an online course. So
okay.
it's called Beautiful You. It was a life coaching course. So I did that for I think a 6 month course, and then I kind of came out of it a bit confused and not really sure what my niche was. I actually started my business helping people with motivation and trying to
Hmm.
not procrastinate. That was my niche to begin with,
Right.
and then I realized how hard it was to try and sell that as a destination because I didn't really have a destination for my clients. It was just
Hmm.
kind of like, stop procrastinating. That was it. It was very hard to sell. So that's when I went into video coaching and I realized it was a friend of mine who said, why don't you use your experience in this area? I thought, yeah, that sounds great. I'll do it, and changed everything the next day. So it was a very quick transition.
So I got to ask you this network in Australia, was this Channel 9 by any chance?
No, seven, channel seven. So
Okay,
it's
'cause
their biggest rivalry.
uh,
Yeah.
so I just remember all these shows when we lived in the UK. All these shows were
Yeah.
Channel 9 Australia. So you were talking about just kind of some maybe I hadn't asked you quite yet about pre-startup advice, but what one piece of advice you would give yourself, if you could go back a couple of years
Yeah.
before you started this, you think it'd be really beneficial?
I think, and I think a lot of people mention this, don't focus so much on the bells and the whistles. Just focus on who you help, what their problem is, and how you're going to help them. I think that's the most important thing. I think we sort of start up something and we just think of all, the website and all of
Yeah.
the fancy things, and we forget the crux of it, which is, you need to be able to solve someone's problem. So that would be my biggest advice.
Well, let's, one thing I've kind of added in the last few weeks here, just doing interviews, are related to like just doing a real short kind of micro class. Like, here's the top 3 steps for this thing. So we can really close kind of with a bang,
Yeah.
on these interviews. So
Yeah.
if you were coaching somebody on doing live video, what are say the top 3 things, just really short and succinct, that you would say these you need to focus on?
Yeah. Okay. So I would say, find a topic that it's in demand, so people need to hear it. So find something that's going to really help them in each video. Make sure that these videos, they can take it away, and they can, it's going to transform them in some way or another in the video.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my number one. So the topic, I would say, make sure that you are as much as yourself as possible. Make sure that you're as unique as possible. And by doing that, it's really about being yourself. That would be my number 2. And number 3, I would say, is to, this is going to sound really cheesy, but have as much fun with it as possible, because I think that really helps the number 2. I think when we think we think of it as this big scary thing, the audience can really see that, and they're not going to really engage with us. So I think topics and titles, make sure that's really, really clear and important, and make sure that you're yourself, you're as comfortable as you can be on camera, and make sure you're having a lot of fun as well.
Well, just before we hit the record button on this kind of second session, you mentioned you had a call coming up at the top of the hour, but the one thing I appreciate is the fact that you are very much a practitioner. You're not just a coach that is telling people how to do things, but you're actually putting it into practice. So thanks for your time today so much. Is there any closing comment that you want to mention, and how can people find you online?
Yeah, I would just say, start today. I know it's scary. I know being on camera is very scary, but as I said before, we've all got the ability to be really good on camera. So don't think that, just because you're shy or introverted, that you're not meant to be on camera, because it's a tool that we really need to be using in this day and age, with the online space. So just get out there and just do it. And you can find me. I can pop my links to. I have a page where you can, if you need more help with your video, you can work with me as well. My current website is under reconstruction, so I've got one page that I can send the link through. Also, I'm very active on Instagram. I'm actually called the Lazy Girl Boss is my handle.
Okay.
And on Facebook, come and find me on Facebook. I've got a public profile. It's just Alana Shegog, and I probably spend the most of my time there. So
that's where I found you, and you were very visible and entertaining in that space. So, Alana, thank you so much for just joining with us today, and just actually providing value and to our listeners. And not just, it was an entertaining conversation, but there was some real, like I said, value and truth that was spoken in that as well. So thank you for just sharing your time. And
thanks for having me.
Just helping all boats rise in a rising tide. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Kevin.